So, welcome back, class. Today we're still going over chapter 4, applying metric measurements and calculating doses. Our topic for this section is conversions within the metric system. Our learning objectives is to convert units within the metric system by moving the decimal point using the ratio proportion method and using the dimensional analysis method. So conversions with the metric system. So in this section, you will learn 3 ways to converting units within the metric system. Moving the decimal point, using the ratio proportion method, and using dimensional analysis method. So moving the decimal point. To change metric units of a number to a smaller or larger unit, you can multiply or divide by an appropriate multiple of 1,000. So in table 4.4, we see the conversions of the metric unit equivalents. So for instance, to convert 5 grams to milligrams, 5 grams to milligrams, you need to multiply 5 by 1,000 milligrams. So you would get 5,000 milligrams. So looking at table 4.4, kilo, we have in grams would be 0.001. In liters, it'd be 0.001 kiloliters. 0.001 kilometer. The base unit is 1 gram, 1 liter, 1 meter. Milli would be the 1,000. So that's why we have 1,000 milligrams, 1,000 milliliters, and 1,000 millimeter. Micro, it's 1,000. 1 million. Yeah, 1 million micrograms, 1 million microliters, and 1 million micrometers. So we're basing this off of the base unit of 1. Okay. The key to understand the relationship of kilo, base, milli, and micro in the metric system is to remember that the decimal point must be moved 3 places when converting from one unit to the next. So moving the decimal point 3 spaces to the is a quick way to multiply or divide the number by 1,000. So 3 places are representative of the 3 zeros in 1,000. So 1 kilo, you're moving imaginary decimal after the 1, 3 spaces to the right would make it 1,000 grams. 1 gram, again, you would multiply it by 1,000 or move the decimal 3 spaces to the right. So you get 1,000 micrograms. Now, 1 micrograms is equal to 1,000 micrograms. 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. So if we want to convert from 1 gram straight to micrograms, we're gonna have to move the decimal a total of 6 times. Oops, sorry. Going ahead of myself. So you see that, where's my, right here, the 1 gram, you're converting to milligrams by moving the decimal places 3 times. And then from 1 gram to micrograms, you're moving it another 3 spaces. So that means that when we're moving 1 gram to micrograms, we're gonna have to move it 6 spaces to the right. Okay, let's move on. When converting from a smaller to a larger unit of measure, you're moving the decimal 3 places to the left. So again, a smaller to a larger, we have to move it 3 spaces to the left. So again, our imaginary point decimal would be after the 0. So we're going to move it right here. 1, 2, 3. And that's where our decimal would go. So our answer would be 4.500 liters. So the same thing from milligrams to grams. So a smaller unit to a larger, we're moving it 3 spaces to the left. So 7, 8, 2, and that's where our decimal would go. So our answer is 1.287 grams. 480 milliliters. Move it 3 spaces, so 0, 8, 4. That's where our decimal goes. 0.480 liters. And again, we have to add that leading 0, okay? Let's not forget that. When converting from a larger to a smaller unit of measure, move the decimal point 3 places to the right. So now larger to smaller, 3 spaces to the right. So grams to milligrams, so a bigger unit of measure to a smaller. So here we have our decimal. So we're gonna move it 3 spaces to the right. So 9, 5, 4. So our answer is 954 milligrams. So grams to milligrams again. Moving it 3 spaces. So 5, 0, 0. So we have to add those zeros. Would be 1,500 milligrams. 0.238 grams. Moving it again. So 2, 3, 5. I'm sorry, 8 would be 238 milligrams. 0.621 milligrams. 3 spaces, so 6 to 1, 621 micrograms. Now, using ratio proportion method. So remember here, we have to set it up into fractions. So set up the conversions by placing the unknown and the value to be converted on one side of the equation and the conversion factor, the ratio of the desired unit to be given unit on the other side. So remember that the units in the numerator must match the units in the the units in the numerator must match and the units in the denominator must match. Checking to make sure that the unit match before completing the calculations will ensure accuracy in the conversion. So let's do an example. So we're going to convert 2,000 1,300 milligrams to grams. So moving the decimal point would just be converting from a smaller to a larger. We're going to move it to the left. Okay, so here we go. 0.003. That's where our decimal goes. So our answer would be 2.3 grams. Using the ratio proportion method, we set up our fractions. So again, our numerators units have to match and our denominator units have to match. So in the numerator, we're going to put the grams, and the denominator, we're going to put the milligrams. And from our tables, we know that 1 gram is equal to 1,000 milligrams. So 1 goes on top, 1,000 goes on the bottom. And X grams, because that's the unit that we want to find, would be on top, and 2,300 milligrams would be at the bottom or in the denominator. So now we're going to cross multiply. So X grams times 1,000 is equal to 1 gram times 2,300. So dividing by 1,000 on both sides. So we multiply 1 times 2,300 divided by 1,000 gives us X is equal to 2.3 grams. Now using the dimensional lattice method. So the dimensional analysis method, also known as the factor label method or the unit factor method, is a problem-solving method that uses facts that any number or expression can be multiplied by 1 without changing its value. In this method, the given number and units are multiplied by the ratio of the desired unit to the given unit. So the unit of the denominators will match with the units, with the given units, so that the units will cancel each other, and the unit remaining in the numerator will be the unit to which you are converting. So let's set this up. So we're converting 4.5 liters to milliliters. So then we have to remember, we'll put the units that we know and that we want as the numerator. So here the book is doing it a little bit different. So they put 4.5 liters, because that's the unit that's known, times 1,000 milliliters over 1 liter. That way the liters cancel and you're left with the units that you want, which is milliliters. So 4.5 times 1,000 divided by 1 is equal to 4,500 milliliters. The way that I would set it up, let me see. Hold on. The way I would set it up would be, let me find it. So we want to convert 4.5 liters to milliliters. So in the way I was taught was to put the units that we want the units that we want on top. Okay, so let's do this. And from our conversions, we know that 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters, correct? So that's how we're going to set it up. So we want milliliters, so that's what I'm going to put on top, milliliters. 1,000 milliliters is equal to 1 liter, so 1,000 over 1. And then we want to get rid of the liters, right? So that's the number I'm going to, or the units that I'm going to put on top. And that's the unit we have here. So that would be 4.5 liters. That way, our units will cancel and we're left with milliliters. So 1,000 times 4.5 will give us 4,500 milliliters. So that's how I would set it up. Again, the book wrote it as 4.5 liters times 1,000 milliliters over 1 liter, which in reality would be the same thing, but I like to put the units that I want as the first step, which is right here. Okay, and the book puts you what we have as the first step. But since the way I like to write it is, since this one already tells me that mLs is on top, and that's what I want to make sure that stays on top, because this is the answer of units that I want. Okay, and that way you can set it up. Since liters is at the bottom, you know liters are going to be on the numerator of our next equation. And this is easy because you're only converting two set of numbers. When you're actually doing like trying to convert 3 or 4 sets of numbers, or units, I mean, it's easier to write the number of units in the numerator that you want and start reducing in the next set of sections. Okay, hopefully that wasn't confusing to you. So that would be dimension analysis. Let's go ahead and work on some of the problems. Let's see, clear. Where did this move? Okay. So let's go to page 102, problem set. So it says to convert the following units within the metric system by using the ratio proportion method. So they want us to use the ratio and proportion method, okay? So let's go ahead and do number 1, which states 1,964 micrograms is equal to how many milligrams? Okay, so let's set up our ratios and proportions. So we know that 1 milligram is equal to 1,000 micrograms. So we're setting up ratios and proportions so that it will equal to, and we want milligrams on top and micrograms at the bottom, because we want our numerators to match the units and our denominators to match the units. Okay, and from our problem, X milligrams is what we want to find out. And we have what happened here? 1,000. Sorry, no. 1,964 micrograms. So now we're going to cross multiply. 1,000x is equal to 1 times 1,964. We're going to divide by 1,000 because we want x by itself. And then our answer would be 1.964 milligrams. Okay. Let's do number 3. So we have 651 milligrams, and we want to convert it to micrograms. So again, the same thing. We know that 1 milligram is equal to 1,000 micrograms. Set them equal to each other, so milligrams on top, micrograms on the bottom. This time we want to know micrograms, so we're going to put an X there. And 651 goes in the numerator. Cross multiply. So 1,000 times 651 will give us 65123, comma, is equal to X, and this is micrograms. Okay. Now let's do number 10. So 184 grams is equal to kilograms. Okay, so let's set up our ratios and proportions. 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. So kilograms on the top, grams on the bottom. We want to know kilograms, so that's an X. And 184 goes in the bottom, in the denominator. So cross multiply. 1,000x is equal to 184. Divide by 1,000. X is equal to 0.184 kilograms. Okay, and again, don't forget that leading 0 in front of the decimal. So let's go ahead and do number 11. So we want to convert 5 milliliters to kilograms. Oh, wait, I think I wrote it wrong. I'm sorry, 52. Totally wrote this wrong. Number 11. 25 milliliters is equal to how many liters? And this set of problems, they're telling us to convert the following units within the metric system by using the dimensional analysis method. Okay, so now we're going to use dimensional analysis. So let's write down what we know. We know that 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. Okay, that's something that we should already know. So now the unit of measure that we were looking for is liters. Okay, so we're going to start off with liters on the top in our numerator. So 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. So now we're going to multiply. And now, since our denominators is in milliliters, our next set of fraction, the numerator has to be milliliters. So looking at our problem, we have here 25 milliliters. So that's where we're going to put in our numerator here. That way our units are canceling. Milliliters cancel, and we're left with liters as our numerator or our resulting answer. Okay, So 1 times 25 is 25. 1,000 stays at the bottom. 25 divided by 1,000, 0.025 liters would be our answer. Okay, number 13. So 16 milligrams, and we're converting that to micrograms. So then again, since we want micrograms, I'm gonna put that as my units and my numerator. Okay, oops. So micrograms. And from our, what we know is that 1 microgram is equal to 1,000 milligrams. Sorry, it's the opposite. 1,000 micrograms is equal to 1 milligram. Now I want to put milligrams on top. So from our problem, it's 16 milligrams. So that's what we're going to put on top. That way our units cancel each other. So 1,000 times 16 give us 16,000 micrograms. Okay. And let's do number 15. Okay. So we are converting 2,703,000 micrograms to grams. And this is something that we can do dimensional analysis. We know two or three things. So we know that 1 gram is equal to 1,000 milligrams. And we also know that 1 milligram is equal to 1,000 micrograms. Okay, so this is how we're going to set up this problem. We want grams, correct? So that's the unit that we're going to start with on top. So looking at our problems here, we're going to start off with the 1 gram. So 1 gram over 1,000 milligrams. So now I want to cancel milligrams. So I'm going to use my next set. 1 milligram is equal to 1,000 micrograms. Now I need a, sorry, that's an X. Cancel micrograms. And that's our problem up here. Okay, so we're going to put 2,703,000. So 1 times 1 times 2,703,000 micrograms. So that goes on top. Divided by 1,000 times 1,000 goes 100,000. No. I'm missing a 0. There we go. Okay. So if we divide those two, we get 2.703 grams. Okay, and you see how I did that? I was able to use 3 sets in order to get my answer. So we canceled milligrams and we canceled micrograms, and we're left with our answer grams. Okay. Now let's move to the next set of problems. This one says to convert the following units by using the method that you prefer, either moving the decimal, using the dimension analysis, or using ratios and proportions. Okay, so let's do number 21. So it says 2 kilograms is equal to how many milligrams? Okay. So we know that 1 million milligrams is equal to, let me write down this. 1 million milligrams is equal to 1 kilogram. Okay. So we're going to go ahead. I don't know which method you prefer. We're converting a smaller unit to a larger unit. Actually, we're still in grams. So I'm just going to use the ratio and proportion method. So 1 kilogram over 1 million milligrams is equal to 2 kilograms over X milligrams. So cross multiply. 2 times 1 million would equal 2 million. So X is equal to 2 million milligrams. Okay, let's do number 25. So we're converting 27 milligrams. Let me see. 27 micrograms. Sorry, I wrote that down. Micrograms to milligrams. So we're converting a smaller unit to a larger unit. So that means we move our decimals point. Three spaces to the left. Okay, so let me put this here. 1, 2, I'm gonna have to add a 0, decimal point, and then another 0. So that would give me 0.027 milligrams because I'm converting from a smaller to a larger unit. So that would give us our answer of 0.027 milligrams. If you want to use the ratio and proportion method, we know that 1 milligram is equal to 1,000 micrograms. And so we have X milligrams over 27 micrograms, cross multiply. 1,000 x equals to 27 divided by 1,000. So that gives us x equals 0.027. Okay. Let's do problem 29. So we have 3.19 grams is equal to milligrams. So here we're converting a larger to a smaller measure of unit. So whenever we're going from larger to smaller, we're going to move our decimal 3 spaces to the right. Okay, so the 3 here, decimal, we're going to move it 3 spaces to the right. So I'm going to have to add a 0 at the end. So then it's 3, comma, 190 milligrams. Again, if you want to use ratios and proportions, we know that 1 milligram is equal to 1, no, the other way. 1 gram is equal to 1,000 milligrams. So grams on the on top, milligrams on the bottom. X is what we want to find, and we have 3.19. So cross multiply, 3.19 times 1,000 is equal to 3,190 milligrams. Okay. So we'll stop here. The rest of the problems will be for homework, and we'll see you in the next section.